Please don't bother me, I'm on my lunch break. Pizza, burger, sandwich, lunch break, tofu, salad, hot dog, lunch break.
Welcome back to another episode of Lunch Break. After our long hiatus, we are back. We have been taking a little summer vacation, hopefully along with the rest of you. But I'm AJ.
I'm Kathleen.
And joining us again is Julia.
Hi, everybody.
Returning, this is the third time you've been on the show.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So, Julia, welcome back.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So, on this episode, we're going to talk about what we've been doing while we haven't been putting out episodes because it has been a busy summer.
Very busy, and
already.
It's only July now.
Yeah, it is.
It's already past the halfway of the year mark.
Yeah.
True, very true.
We are less than 6 months away from Christmas.
Oh, and recently I found out that half of 365 is 182, which I feel like is really dumb. So now Blink 182 makes sense to me.
Is that where they got it?
I don't know, but...
So I've heard rumors that it was from the number of times the F word was said in Goodfellas.
Oh.
We'll have to do another episode where we debunk where Blink 182 got their name.
Yeah, if you guys are listening, feel free to join us on lunch break.
I'm probably completely wrong.
Maybe. Which, that's funny that you brought that up, though, because I just started listening to Blink 182 again, and it felt like I was right back in junior high.
You stopped listening at some point?
Well, yeah, I mean...
What? I love Blink 182. I've never stopped.
It's not like I'm constantly listening to Blink 182. I mean, there was like a few years where...
When you drive here, you don't listen to it? No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
Every morning I put on Enema of the State.
And then on the way home, yeah.
Yeah, so Kathleen, if there was only one song or CD that you could have on your iPod, it would be Blink 182 is what you're saying?
I actually... I'm going to get out my Blink-182 CD for the new hands-free law and just listen to that on repeat and not get a ticket. How about that?
That's not a bad idea.
I've had to do that. Before I leave the house, or before I leave the house, I have to pick what album I want to listen to, and I have to make sure it's this one has to be primo because I can't skip any songs. I can't touch my phone to skip it.
That's the worst part because I'm so indecisive. I'll listen to a song for 30 seconds and then I'll go, okay, on to the next. And now it's I have to suffer through 3 minutes of this song.
Right. Because you can't touch your phone.
Such a first world problem.
Well, and in my car, I still have a tape deck. So I have the tape adapter that plugs into the headphones. Mm-hmm. So I can't.
Don't you?
Well, yeah, I have a tape adapter, so I
Sorry.
put it, I connect it to my phone and listen that way, but it's kind of wonky, so sometimes it'll just stop.
Oh.
And because of the hands-free law, I can't turn it back on.
So then you're just in silence.
Well, then I turn to the radio or something.
Oh, true.
I feel like radio stations have to be
happy about this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I
big
think
CD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. I've been listening to the radio. I mean, it's only been a few days since it's been passed, but the few days that it has been passed, I'm I'm just going to listen to the radio because then I can change it if I don't like something.
You know, it's an even better option than listening to the radio.
What?
Listening to the App and Media Group family of podcasts on your device.
Except my phone does this weird thing. After you finish an episode, it won't start the next one.
What app do you have?
Podcasts.
You have an iPhone.
Yeah.
So you have
It's probably my own fault. I probably have it wrong.
Yeah, just change the settings so it just keeps looping them going into the next one.
That's what I wanted to do, but I have to go back and pick the next one. Mm-hmm. And so I would be listening to an episode of Inside the Box or,
Sure.
one of our new shows.
So, right. Speaking of the App and Media Group family of podcasts, Julia, your podcast just hit yesterday.
That's right.
Just released yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's called Myth Roast.
Yes.
Where did the name come from? Is it myths as in fairy tales or myths as in kind of what we've done on this show, Coke taking rings of whatever.
We haven't done that myth. We've talked about it.
Never mind. Is it what kind of myths do you mean here?
Well, it's more the classical myths, Norse mythology or Greek mythology, but we're also kind of using a loose definition of the term. So we're including fairy tales, cryptids, stuff like that.
And what do you guys do? So myth roast, so do you like debunk it or do you just make fun of it?
Well, so it's more like we retell our favorite myths, but we don't do it very seriously. So it's just kind of a funny way of retelling things. The way I've been describing it is, if you've ever seen Drunk History, it's like that, except it's not about history and we're not drunk.
You could be. You could have like myth roast after dark.
That's we're not saying no to that.
That's a good idea for lunch break.
Didn't we try that once where you drank wine out of paper cups?
Well, we did. Well, I guess so. We have drank on a few shows because we were at the brewery and we were drinking with Nick.
Oh, yeah.
And then we did the episode about wine, so we did that one too. So back to myth roast.
Oh, joy.
So, well, it's not just you. You have a co-host.
Yeah, that's right. I have a co-host, Lauren. So she joins me on all the episodes, like you do too, both.
Lauren's just a friend who's really into myths.
That's right. She actually helped me come up with the name. So we were both at an ice cream place getting fancy rolled ice cream because I never had that before.
I was going to say Four Fat
Yeah,
Cows.
me too.
No. It's, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's,
Ice cream rolls.
yeah, that's the name. Sure. We're going to call it ice cream rolls.
Sure.
And because I was just trying to come up with a podcast idea and we were just like talking about things we like or whatever. And then we just kind of came to that.
Cool. Well, very cool. So you can listen to Myth Roast along with Inside the Box Overtime Lunch Break on northfulton.com/podcasts or wherever you download your podcast. So Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, and then Google Play.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it because our desks are right outside the recording studio, and so I hear you guys like laughing a lot. And so I'm like, all right, I'm excited to hear this. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and
We do have some giggles on there.
I mean, obviously we do too.
have you thought about renaming it the Giggle Gang?
I'm just speechless and angry that we didn't think of that. That's a primo podcast name.
Primo name. That's the
Say
next one.
Myth roast by the Giggle Gang.
Also, I do have to say, ice cream or rolled ice cream does not live up to the hype.
No?
No. That's going to be a myth we roast.
I had there's a
No, it's not.
there's a place at the Prado down in Sandy Springs that does CO2 infused, where it's liquid, I think, and then they add the CO2 and it gets hard, or I don't know. It's supposed to be creamier.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's different than rolled ice cream, but a different form of eating it.
What's the Prado?
It's just like a complex with different restaurants. Like there's a Taco Mac. Five Seasons is there.
Okay, where is it? Sandy Springs, you said?
It's just inside 285 off of Roswell Road.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I always say the Prado, and no one ever knows what I'm talking about. I don't think it's very popular. Actually, I think...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be like super popular when Pokemon Go was popular because
Yeah,
that's like where
yeah.
you went to get all the good Pokemon.
Right.
And then I think they had like signs out. It's like, if you're playing Pokemon Go, don't come here. You have to be a customer or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then places started promoting play Pokemon Go and eat here.
Yeah.
Because
That's
we
smart.
have Pokestops. That's what it was, right?
Yeah, there was a place in downtown Roswell that I noticed every single time I went by there, they had one of those lure things going, which, to like get people to sit down, eat, and like
Right.
have Pokemon show up
Yeah,
because of the
yeah,
lure.
yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, it was genius marketing because it's like a few cents and it worked on me.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yeah.
Do you still play Pokemon Go?
Occasionally.
Yeah, it kind of phased out.
I still have the app. I can't delete it, but I don't play it.
I'll play it because I keep seeing like pop-ups like, check out this new thing. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm done like after 5 minutes.
Yeah, I still get those too. And I'm like, haven't we kind of figured out I don't play it anymore? But no.
Well, still kind of fun sometimes. It's a good walking app.
Yeah.
But another thing at the Prado, underneath the Taco Mac, is the Georgia Chapter Room, which is a speakeasy. Oh. And you go underneath, and then you press a doorbell, and you have to wait for them to come and let you in.
Oh, I've been to another speakeasy, not that one.
Okay.
And we went up and we pressed first of all, we dressed in flapper costumes. And we showed up, we pressed the doorbell, and the guy was like, you can just come in, like the door's open. And we were like, do you need the password? And he was like, no, I just need your ID. And then we showed up in our costumes and everybody else was just in like normal clothing.
Everyone was looking at you like,
Yes.
who are these crazy girls?
Like, you're
Well,
trying too hard.
clearly those people were not like savoring the special moment.
Yeah, we were. We were all about that.
Was it you and your mom?
No, it's not me.
I could just imagine like you and your mom going and doing that. Because you're very close with your mom. Mm-hmm. And Well, because you're doing the Peachtree Road Race together, and you have costumes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're recording this the day before the 4th of July. And so
July 3rd,
yeah.
technically.
You said that and I was like, is July 4th on the 3rd? And then I was like, wait, what?
So tomorrow,
Week feels like July 4th, honestly.
Yeah, it does.
it's bizarre.
So tomorrow's the Peachtree Road Race. It's the world's largest 10K in Atlanta, and you walk down Peachtree Street. And it's, I've been doing it for like, I want to say this is my 8th year, and this is my mom's 10th or maybe 9th and 11th. I'm not really sure. We have a hard time
Been doing a
keeping up
while.
with it. Yeah. And so, yeah, we're all about it. The 4th of July is my favorite holiday. And so it makes it better to have to wake up at like, 5 and then get down to MARTA at 6 and then do this race really early. Because I like the crowds. Everybody's really pumped and excited, and like the energy is just really good. And, so to make this food related, I guess, along the path, there's different restaurants and bars and stuff that'll hand you things. Like there's places that hand out donuts, of course. I don't like donuts, so I don't take any. And then there's places that hand out beer.
Yeah.
And we're always like, no, that sounds horrible right now.
Kimber and I have done the half marathon on Thanksgiving a couple years in a row now, and there is one guy who hands out shots of beer, and I think he has Bloody Marys, like little shots of Bloody Marys.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I could see the beer because it puts electrolytes back in your body, or that's what they say.
Really?
Yeah, that's why some races will give you beer afterwards because it has electrolytes and it replenishes your body with stuff.
Sure.
But the Bloody Mary one is a little bit harder to see because it's vodka and Bloody Mary mix.
That sounds like it'll just sit in your stomach while you're...
And then, and it's always like you still have like 3 miles left to go.
Yeah.
So you drink it and then you still have more to run. And then I haven't vomited, but I could imagine.
Yeah, I could see that too. There's always like a group of drunk, I guess, college guys. I don't really know who have this big tub of cheese balls and they throw them into people's mouths and you like run by. And then what else? Oh, there's just so much going on. It's so much fun.
Okay, wait, is this like during the Peachtree Road?
Oh yeah, during it.
That's not, so they're hot, like melty cheese balls? That
I think
sounds
like
disgusting.
Cheetos, right?
It's the cheese balls.
Yeah,
So
like the
yeah, it's
big
like
ones.
Cheetos. Yes. And
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like,
Cheese curds.
you thought
no.
like dairy.
yeah.
No, it is like the Cheetos types of.
Okay,
the,
that's
like,
a little bit
puffy
better.
Yeah.
But still, it's these random guys putting their hands in like these buckets, and they're drunk, even though it's 9 or 8 a.m. And they're like throwing it in your mouth, and you're like sweat. It's just so gross.
Oh yeah, they were probably like licking their fingers before they like went back in there. And just...
But probably yes. But then at the very end, one of the best parts is when you get to Piedmont Park. They give you obviously the T-shirt, which is like the whole goal. And then they give you a bunch of food, which we're always so excited about because, you've been doing it for, if you're at our pace, it's like a solid 2 hours. And then you got the pre-time and whatever. So you haven't eaten in like 5-6 hours. Maybe that's an overestimate. And so we go around and we like shop and stuff. But they give you peaches because the peach tree. And it's always like the best peach you will ever eat because you're probably super dehydrated. Mm-hmm. And it's so good. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited to do that.
So we are now in July, but we have been celebrating summer for a while now. We've taken a few trips, and that's...
Yeah.
Kathleen has taken, I don't know, maybe the entire month of June off.
It was like every other week, and I'll be gone the rest of this week too. So just after this week, though, I'll finally be normal again.
So I think it started off, the two of you, Julia and Kathleen, y'all went to...
Jekyll Island.
Jekyll Island for the Georgia Press Awards
Yep,
conference.
that's right.
Yeah, we stayed at the Jekyll Island Club Resort, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And it's an old, I guess, property. It's on Jekyll Island, obviously. And so it has like the trees with all the Spanish moss, and the buildings are really old. What, from the 1800s was the one we were in?
Yeah, and they're still super pretty and just
Yeah.
like aesthetically pleasing. And
But there's no elevator.
yeah, well,
Which,
which kind of worked out because I don't know, you're just like lounging around all day. You kind of want to feel like you've done something.
true, that's true. You get your exercise in that way.
Yeah, just going up one flight of stairs.
Yeah.
For our listeners who aren't from Georgia, Jekyll Island is on the coast of Georgia,
Kind of near Savannah.
near Savannah on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Is it in the Atlantic Ocean?
I don't know my oceans.
Well, I mean, is it on the ocean?
It is on the ocean.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the Atlantic.
Well, it's kind of cool because one side is ocean and then the other side there's like a river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were on the river. The hotel that we were at was on the river, but then they had a sister property on the other side. That was their oceanfront resort. And it was funny because ours was old and, like southern and the big trees and all this kind of stuff. And then you get to the other one and it's like really new and modern. It was nice, really, really nice, but it was completely different.
Do they have good food there?
Oh,
They did.
yeah. We went to the same restaurant a few nights in a row.
Well, they don't have a lot of restaurants there, right?
Not too many. They have a good amount, but the one that we went to, the Wharf, we actually recorded an episode of Inside the Box with Hans there. And the Wharf was in walking distance to our hotel. So we just walked there
Got
few of the
trashed.
nights.
Well, you're supposed to say that the food was so good we just kept coming back, not that it was so close.
That too. It was very good food. The food was really good.
Seafood?
Yeah, it was good.
Well, you don't eat seafood.
Didn't you get seafood?
Yeah, I got some fish tacos. It was good.
I could dig on that.
Yeah, I think Hans got some oysters.
Ah, okay.
And we also got calamari.
Nice. And none of that Kathleen ate.
No, but everything else was good. They had a lot of vegetarian options, so that was good.
Oh, side note. So last week, Kimber and I decided that we were going to try and be vegetarian because
welcome.
we had spent time with our friends out in Vegas, and we can get to that in a little bit here. But my friend Corey and Lydia, they're both pescatarian, so they still eat fish, but mostly just vegetarian stuff. So Kimber and I decided that we can do that. And I think I lasted until Thursday, and then I think I had Zaxby's for lunch because it was like, I was doing pretty well, and I was eating tofu at places, but then at one point I was just like, I need some Zaxby's, and that's it.
Well, Zaxby's salad without the chicken's good. That's where we stopped on our way down to Jekyll.
Oh, yeah, we did. It was a good tie-in. Good job.
Thank you. I guess that wasn't a funny anecdote. I've realized that I have these stories that I tell, and they don't really have a point, and then I'm just kind of looking at people, and they always like look back at me like, okay, where's the punchline?
At
And
least
then-
you finish your story. I'm really bad where I'll say, I went to the grocery store today, and then I'll pause. And people are like, congrats. And I'm like, no, I have more to it. I was just getting to it.
Yeah.
So at least you finish it out. But are you going to go back to vegetarianism? Is Kimber still keeping up with it?
No, so she used to be vegetarian before we started dating or at the beginning of our relationship. And then I wasn't vegetarian. So I think over like the first year of dating, she kind of slowly went back to eating meat. And then, we've talked about, doing it, being vegetarians kind of on and off, but we never really commit. So maybe it's one of those things where you have to try it a few times before it finally catches on.
Yeah, I think it's hard to go overnight into doing it. But if you lessen it, and then you realize my options are really open, then it's a lot easier.
Yeah, we had one thing that was like beans and like fire roasted tomatoes, like all mixed together in a skillet with some other vegetables, and then we had buffalo tempeh, which.
Oh yeah, you were eating that last week.
Right. And so instead of buffalo wings, which that's like the biggest thing that I don't think I'd be able to give up. And I think you've talked about that with your dad.
He always says, I could be vegetarian. And then he's like, but I can't give up Taco Mac wings.
Right.
And I don't know. I liked wings when I ate meat back in the day, but I don't know. Just now, of course, my mind, is in a different place. It just grosses me out. I don't think I could ever go back to it, but there are other options.
Yeah. So any other fun stories from Jekyll?
Oh, yeah. So Julia and I were staying in a room together, and our last night, the awards night, we came back from dinner and we were going to change so we could go back out and hang out with people. And like I said, it was an old building, so it wasn't, probably up to all of the standards of modern day building.
Oh,
What do you mean?
I don't want to say
Like it was falling apart?
It wasn't falling apart. It was just old.
creaky. It was
Okay.
creaky in a lot of
It
places.
had character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't recently built kind of thing, which was fine. We didn't care, except the last night.
Well, okay, so for those who don't know, Jekyll has a lot of bugs.
Yes.
And it's so bad that when you went there, they handed out little free packets of insect repellent.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
in the
so
rooms.
so it's going to be good when they're handing out
Yeah.
insect repellent.
We noticed that like the first day we were walking around just like looking, and we were like, all right, this is going to be a problem.
Like
But
roaches?
no, like mosquitoes and, the little no-see-ums,
gnats
the gnat
and-
things.
Yeah. And then, of course, Spanish moss has all the little red bugs that I don't remember the name of.
Ladybugs?
No-see-ums, chiggers.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
They're like ticks, but they're tiny and red.
Yeah, a lot of people will take the moss with them home, like people not from around here, and then it has little bugs in them and you don't see them, and then they like bite you.
Yeah, so you are not supposed to touch that.
Yeah. And so we knew all that. We were fine, had our insect repellent. We were pretty much fine the whole day because I think the resort sprays a lot because obviously people are paying like good money to go there. And so we were fine, whatever. Then the very last day, we come back to change and I like look up and I was like, hey, Julia, what is that? And it was our room had the bedroom with the 2 beds, and then it kind of had a little like area off in one of the corners with like a dining table where you would have breakfast or whatever, and it was next to the porch. And so it wasn't really near our stuff, but I just look up and there was this spider up above one of the windowsills, and it was the biggest thing I had ever seen.
How big was it?
Well, for reference, so we were like as far away as we could, like from in the room, like near the door. This thing was like on the opposite diagonal side, and we could see the individual legs.
That's gross.
Yeah. I mean, we were at least 2 beds, a dresser, and then like an extra dresser length away from.
So would you say
spider.
like as big as a tennis ball?
Yeah. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, probably
Like a
the size
palm?
of the palm of your hand.
That's about a tennis ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but yeah, I tried to take a picture from across the room and you could still see the legs. It was that big. So we get on the phone and we call down to the front desk and we're like, can somebody please help us? We have a spider in our room.
Yeah, and like, okay, so she was talking on the phone, but I could hear the person on the other side being like, okay.
She laughed. She laughed. She was like, yeah, I'll send someone up. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
There's these 2 girls that can't
Yeah.
handle like a little killing a spider on their
Yeah,
own.
yeah. And so, what was that guy's name? Steve?
Yeah, Steve, because it was Scuba Steve,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So Steve the bug guy shows up and he like has this bottle of spray and it said what? Ant spray and like a napkin. And he's like, all right, where's it at? And we point and he was like, oh. And so he gets up on a chair to look at it and he goes, well, hello there. And he's like, yeah, this is probably one of the biggest ones I've seen. Like, this is a big one. And we were like, okay, if Steve thinks it's big, this is his job to deal with this. And so he goes, hold on, let me get a ladder. And he leaves. And we were like, don't leave us alone. It's going to cut our throats. Like, we're going to die. And he comes back and it disappears. And he goes, oh, there's a little hole here. Must have gone into the hole.
Yeah, of course. That must have been where it went. It's the only logical explanation.
Yeah. And so he goes, because the hole he said was the size of what, a crayon? And I said,
Yeah,
how
it was
does...
pretty small.
Yeah, I'm like, how does that spider fit into that? And he goes, well, they can take all the air out of their body and like suck themselves into these holes and like squish themselves down, which is just creepy.
Yeah. Well, it also makes sense because spiders are mostly leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, those legs, I guess they would fit. And so he goes, so he's not really here, but I can spray some stuff and I can stuff some toilet paper in there if you want.
That'll do the trick.
Yeah, and we were like, okay. And then he's like, it'll take him like a good, week or so to eat through that toilet paper and come back. And I'm like, are you going to fill it for the next people? Or are they just going to have the same?
No, they'll just have the same surprise.
Yeah, it's part of the tradition.
Yeah. That
Oh, yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the room number was?
No.
No.
I could walk you to it.
Doesn't matter.
I think it was like 431, maybe.
Yeah, something.
Okay. So be careful of room 431 at Jekyll Island
It's
Hotel.
now the owner, Spidey, owns it. Yeah, so Spider Steve saved the day. And then the next day when we were checking out, I was like, I want to give a shout out to Steve the bug guy. And they were like, who's Steve the bug guy?
It was a ghost.
Well, I was like, who's this dude that came into our room? And they were like, oh, we normally call him Scuba Steve. Like, what is, okay, sure.
Steve hasn't worked here for 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, though, if that was a ghost, that's like the best ghost ever.
Yeah. He was killed by that spider, and now he returns every night to plug the hole.
Ooh. He probably ate the
Oh,
spider.
wait, plot twist. The spider is also a ghost, so it's just this eternal battle that happens every week.
It's Ghost Steve and Ghost Spider.
Well, speaking of ghost spiders, didn't you like kill one, fry one up,
Oh, no.
grill it?
No, it's still alive and out there, and it wants revenge.
Wait, okay, so what happened?
So this
Okay.
is separate spider story.
Oh, sorry. We're
But-
No, that's fine.
spidering.
But
now.
unlike your story, I've got like some food related, kind of.
Lunch break.
Bringing it back to lunch break.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, I decided to break out the grill, which hasn't been used, I think, in like a solid 2 years or something. Because I'm planning to have a pool party on the 4th, and I wanted to like grill some food up,
Tearing it
So-
up.
Yeah, so I pull out the grill, take the little protector cover thing off, and I'm like opening it up, preparing everything, trying to clean it off, and I see something move in the corner of my eye, and at first I think it's a bird because it was just like big movement.
Yeah.
And then I look down and I see some leg. And it's spider leg.
A
And
very distinctive leg.
yeah, this is not the leg you want to see because
Right.
there's some legs you want to see.
Yes.
Right. So there
Around
was
the pool.
Yeah. That's why you have a
Yeah.
pool party.
Yeah.
So like the grill
see
had-
legs.
Yeah. So the grill had like this I don't know what to call it. It was like
Charcoal?
a metal pipe thing, like support thing. So there's like the grill and then there's a little arm on the side where you can like put a platter down or something as you're grilling.
Is this a charcoal grill, a gas grill? You might want to figure that out before you have your pool party.
No, it's a gas grill.
Okay.
Yeah. And normally you would think that those metal poles, they're like closed off, right? So there's no way to get into them. These were open. So it's like, it's hollow on the inside and there's a hole there. So I look down and the spider is right next to it. And I decide I'm just going to like throw some things. Maybe it'll just like fall off and it'll go away.
Was this spider as big as the spider from Jekyll Island?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a distant relative.
Sure.
Still pretty big.
It was still sizable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably the size of like your middle finger.
Okay.
Which I wanted to give it. So I start throwing some things at it because I'm very smart. And it decides no. And it crawls into the hole.
Yeah.
And at this point, I've lost visual. I don't know where this spider is. I know it's somewhere in that little pipe thing.
Yeah.
But I can't find it. I'm like banging on it, trying to get it to like get out. And it's just like, no, this is my hole now. And I'm really comfortable here. And I was afraid to use the grill for a while because I didn't know if it was like, I'm going to just approach the grill and it's going to be like, yeah. It's just going to target me. It's going to attack me. But I did eventually start the grill up. And I'm thinking maybe you'll just like fry the spider out.
I'm sure it will.
So now it's kind of like a Pandora's box, or what's the box? With the cat. Is it dead or Schrodinger's cat?
I don't know
I
that
don't
one.
either.
Oh, you don't? It's when there's the cat inside the box with like uranium or something, like radioactive. And the idea is that when it's closed, you don't know if the cat is dead or alive. So it's
Oh.
both dead and alive until you open it.
So this is a myth roast.
Kind of.
Is this a myth? Or this is just like an
No.
idiom?
This is
The
like
spider roast.
a thought experiment thing.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so the spider, I don't know if it's dead or alive. I don't know if I'm going to start the grill up and there's going to be a dead spider.
So if you go to Julia's 4th of July party,
Yeah.
spiders on the menu.
I mean, it's got some protein in it, right?
Most spiders are good, though. Well, all spiders are good because they
Oh, I
eat
thought you meant
the-
to eat. And I
No,
was
no, no,
like,
no.
how do you know this?
Well, actually, so Kimber and I went out to, this is the segue. Kimber and I took our honeymoon at the beginning of June and we flew into Las Vegas and then we rented a camper van and we went to the Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, and Zion National Park and did a lot of hiking. And at one of the gas stations, they had suckers, like lollipops, with bugs.
oh, yeah, I've seen those.
And I think one of them was like a huge ass spider. There was a scorpion one. And I was thinking about getting one because it's kind of novel, but I also don't want to eat a scorpion or a
Yeah.
spider. So I didn't. And that's my story.
Good one.
I've seen those before. They're kind of gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the scorpion ones. And what even flavor is it? Because it's just always
Scorpion.
kind of yellow orange.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I have no idea. I guess I should have investigated further. I got a Dr. Pepper instead. And
Safer.
some beef jerky. Because those are my road snacks. Bringing it back to lunch break. Yeah.
How can we find food in these stories?
Yes. How is this food related? I have another unfood related story. So when we flew into Vegas the first night, we flew in, I think we got in around like 5 in the afternoon, 5 at night, whatever time that is. And we stayed at Circus Circus. Have you guys been to Vegas?
No.
Okay, so this was my first time, and we decided to stay at Circus Circus because the room rates were the cheapest out of any of them. And once we got there, we realized why it was so cheap. It's a little bit off of the strip, so it's not like the Bellagio or MGM where it's like this big elegant thing. It's this really old rundown hotel where all the families stay because it's so cheap, and they also have, I think, like circus rides because it's Circus Circus. So we it took us like half an hour just to figure out where the front desk was, and then once we got to the front desk, it took us like another half an hour to get through the line, and then it took us another half an hour to get to our room. Finally found the elevator to get up to our room, and in the elevator were two police officers, and one of them had a homicide badge on, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, it's Las Vegas. These people are here, just doing their job, whatever, patrolling, making sure no one's getting into trouble. And so I didn't think anything of it. And then we got to our room, and then we walked out again, and I saw a camera crew, like a TV camera crew in front. And I didn't say anything to Kimber because she would freak out if she knew about it. So we looked it up afterwards, and what had happened, 2 floors below where our room was, some couple had gotten murdered. They got stabbed to death. Yeah, it was crazy. So I guess there's this common thing, it's like a common occurrence in Vegas where people will walk the halls and like start pushing on people's doors because some of them don't latch and don't lock. So they'll just like walk down the hall and try and break into people's rooms. And so I guess this guy pushed on this couple's door and got in, and they were still there. So he stabbed him to death.
And that was the day that you checked in?
That was the day that we checked in. So the murder occurred at like 4 that morning, but they didn't find him until 3 in the afternoon because they were supposed to. It was a couple that was going to the Grand Canyon, much like Kimber and I, and they didn't show up for their tour. So they had someone go and check on them, and then they found them, and they were dead.
So did you get a discount?
No, they didn't even mention it. Like when
yeah, they're not going to be like, "Hey, welcome. We had a murder breakfast at 9."
Yeah.
Like,
so no, they didn't even mention it. And the moral of the story is, we're not going to stay at Circus Circus when we go back.
You realize that what you described is like the perfect setup for a horror movie. Like unsuspecting couple shows up and sees like the murder that's going to happen later to them of a different couple that was supposed to go to the Grand Canyon, like you were.
I really hope Kimber doesn't listen to this because she's going to like freak out. That's like bad juju in the air now.
Yeah. Well, the big plot twist.
But you're saying like the horror movie is that the couple gets murdered, and then Kimber and I would.
Oh.
Yeah,
or
so
the
it's like
characters that we're
foreshadowing,
playing.
right?
But it would have been like at that hotel, right? It's not like now. I'm going to knock on some wood for this.
Yeah. Good call.
Okay, no, but the plot twist of that movie, because this is like a new movie where they're trying to, make everything different. Those are words I said.
Yeah, no.
So the plot twist is you live instead of dying.
Oh, yeah.
So you made it out alive.
Yeah.
It's a happy
Yay.
ending. I like that. Yeah.
Until the sequel.
Yeah.
That won't be happening because they don't have a big enough budget for it.
Yay. You lived again.
Yeah, but everything is so expensive in Las Vegas. I didn't realize that. I thought that since you're spending all this money on gambling, that all the food and drinks would be cheap. But no, it's like everything you have to pay out the ass for. And like all the food is super expensive, except we ate at McDonald's because it was that was like the least expensive thing. Oh, and then this story isn't very good, and I'll probably cut it out. A great way to start this one off. Actually, I'm not even going to say it. So we had to get food for our camper.
That was a good story.
So we had picked up the van, and then we stopped at a Walmart, and the Walmart was really crowded. And that's the story.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. It's not a very good story. See, these are my stories. This is what goes through my head, and like I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be awesome because like I had like so much turmoil going through Walmart because it was so crowded and it was so frustrating. And then when I tell the story, it doesn't really come across.
Well, it's probably busy because people are like, all right, let's just go buy food from Walmart rather than going out to dinner because this is ridiculous.
I guess.
Did that McDonald's have like a different menu than here? Because I've heard that in different locations they sometimes do.
No, I think it was pretty much the same, but they did have a bunch of Starbuckses around Las Vegas. Sorry, like that. It's just like
I'm so excited about that. They had Starbucks.
I'm just remembering things from my trip, and that was one of the things that I like. Literally, like there was a Starbucks, and then like a CVS, and then another Starbucks.
I mean, that makes sense because Las Vegas seems to be like a very touristy, let's go spend money place, and Starbucks is kind of a little bit like that. And also, if you don't recognize anywhere else, well, okay, I know Starbucks. It's reliable, so I can go there.
Mm-hmm. And you need some of that Starbucks juice to keep you going late into the night.
Oh yeah, keep on gambling.
Starbucks juice. Well, and they do pump oxygen into the casinos to keep you more awake.
Huh.
Yeah. True fact.
Like the ice cream earlier? Or that's not oxygen. Never mind.
No, that was carbon something.
Oh.
Dioxide?
Maybe.
Yeah, never
You
mind.
said CO2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be what the two oxygens make up. So anyway, Kathleen, you are about to head out of town again on another trip.
yeah.
So you've been to Jekyll Island, Florida,
Well, I went to New Orleans again.
and New Orleans.
I don't know when the last time we've talked on here.
It's
I was
been
about to
a
say
while.
talked, and then I'm like, I talked to you like 10 minutes ago. But
Right.
yeah, so I went to New Orleans a second time, like a month after I went the first time for a bachelorette party, and that's the wedding that's this weekend.
Is it so tying in the food? Is it a buffet? Do you know? Is it?
I think it's plated.
plated.
It's in Nashville. I've never been to Nashville. I've driven through it a bunch of times, and I've stopped once to have brunch, but that's it. I've never like explored it or anything.
Are you gonna get cowboy boots?
No, I have cowgirl boots, but I'm not going to bring them.
Well, they have all those deals.
Yeah.
As soon as you like get close to Nashville, they have buy one pair get four free.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Like, why do you need 5 pairs unless you have a big family?
Wait. Are you serious about this? Or is
Oh,
this like
yeah.
a joke? But
No.
Yeah.
What?
But the boots are also really expensive. So
Yeah.
it's one of those like spend $300, but hey, you get 4 other pairs.
Yeah.
One of those types of things. Yeah. It's like, I don't want
I don't
them.
I wouldn't even wear a pair of cowboy boots. So
Yeah. I have a pair and I think I've worn them twice and they're not even real. They're from like Belk or something.
What do you mean they're not real?
They're not
Oh,
like the real cow, the actually.
You couldn't actually do any cowgirling or cowboying.
Probably not.
In them.
No, so I won't be doing that in Nashville, but this is going to make me sound so bad, but the rehearsal dinner and the wedding are open bar.
Ooh.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
And the bride, I'm the maid of honor, and the bride has been texting like our group chat of all the bridesmaids saying, we're paying a lot for this, so drink as much as you can. And we're like, all right, we got you.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, like don't worry. But no, the rehearsal dinner is, I don't know the name of it, but I think it's like a pretty nice fancy place.
Oh,
so
yes.
that'll be cool.
Fancy place in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then the actual wedding, I think it's plated and not. But the problem with being a vegetarian is I have to like, the invite was like, do you want pork or chicken? And I made a little box that was like, veggie. I want tofu. And that was actually a problem I ran into in the last trip I took in Florida. I was at, I still don't know how to pronounce it, Ponte Vedra.
I don't know.
It was kind of near Jacksonville.
Okay.
And we were staying at a hotel as a conference. And so pretty much all the meals you don't get to decide. It's just kind of like, here's what we give you. And the vegetarian meals, it was vegan/vegetarian. And they were all like, here's some Brussels sprouts. And I was like, great. What else do I get? And so almost every meal I had to go, do you have protein? And a few times they were like, yeah, we can give you whatever. But one of the last nights, the waiter was like, when you say protein, like what do you want? And I was like, eggs, tofu, beans, nuts, cheese, like any of that would be fine. And he goes, oh, so you don't want like the chicken? And I was like, no, vegetarian.
Did you say that you were vegetarian?
Yeah,
Like
well-
prefaced it by...
Yeah, well, they have in the conference. You sign up and you say, I'm dairy free, I'm gluten free, I'm whatever, shellfish allergy. I had a little card for every meal that said vegan, vegetarian, and so every meal I'd put it on my napkin or whatever in front of me, and they would go, "Oh, okay, vegetarian, got it. We'll bring you something else." And so it's right there in front of me, and he had brought me a salad, and it had no meat on it. He had went and like got a vegetarian salad and brought it back, and then he's like, "So chicken." And I'm like, no. And he goes, well, what is what do you mean protein? I'm like, how do you not know what protein is? And then later on that night, that's when they brought the plate of like Brussels sprouts and bell peppers.
The good stuff.
There was some quinoa. It was good,
Well,
but
quinoa's a
a
protein.
little bit, yeah. But everybody else had steak and shrimp and quinoa, and so I had like a little tiny. It wasn't even like a cup; it was a little bit. And so the guy goes, "Okay, I'll go ask the chef." And he comes back and he goes, "The chef says that the greens are protein." And I'm like, "No, they're not." And I was getting kind of hangry at that point, but yeah. So that's kind of a first world problem, I guess, where. It's my choice to be vegetarian. But then at like conferences and weddings and stuff, when I don't get to choose what I eat, then I'm kind of at the mercy of people being like, oh, you can have a salad.
Sure.
Here's some leaves.
So this is totally different, going back to Nashville, not to change the subject.
No, that was rambling. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No, that's fine. So I've been to Nashville once, and I don't know what the main drag is with all the neon signs. Broadway. And that's not really my scene. I don't really like, big crowds, but that's really what Broadway Street is like a lot of bars where you pay like $10 for a Miller Lite. It's like real expensive.
Yeah. So it's like Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
Yeah, but not as fun. Mm-hmm. I don't like it as much. Anyway, we were there. Kimber and I were there meeting one of Kimber's friends, and we stopped in a bar, and they had, the big stage, and, they had the country music playing, and they did this thing called the holler and swaller.
Okay.
Where you get a shot and you holler, like cheer, and then you swaller your drink.
You take it, yeah.
And they're like, come on, everybody. If you love America, then you got to do the holler and swaller. And we're like, okay, cool. I guess we love America. So you have that to look forward to.
I've heard I need to go on Broadway, but do you have any other recommendations?
Yeah.
Well,
it was funny. So we got there kind of like late. It was like 8:00 at night, and we hadn't eaten dinner. And so we were walking up and down Broadway trying to find somewhere to stop in and eat. But everywhere's so crowded, and most of it's just drinking. So we walked around for like another hour, and I just got so hangry, much like your last trip, where at that point I was just like, screw it. I don't want to go into any of these places. Just get me Domino's, get me something.
Yeah.
So I can't give you any recommendations.
Yeah.
We were in, I think, East Nashville.
Okay, I think that's where we'll be. I don't really know.
I don't know. It's like more hipster. So
Okay.
More my speed.
So, okay, that's cool. I guess I need to look into Nashville. I've looked, but I don't really know how far apart things are.
Yeah.
So, but
I think it's pretty far. I think Broadway's like pretty far from, I think you'd have to drive.
Okay, or Uber or something.
Uber, sure.
Uber. Yeah, I am excited. Have you ever heard of Tupelo, like Tupelo honey?
Yeah.
So it's, I guess, Tupelo, the restaurant. I guess it's where the honey started. I guess they're related.
Well,
I don't
Tupelo
know.
honey is a type of honey.
Yeah, and then there's restaurants, Tupelo.
Right.
And they serve Tupelo honey with their biscuits and stuff. So we're going there for brunch on Sunday, and I'm excited about that.
There's one in Sandy Springs.
Yeah, there's a few
okay.
different locations, and I like that place. So that's the only thing that I've actually nailed down. The rest, I'm like, we'll figure it out.
Nice.
Just got to get through the wedding first.
Cool. So 4th of July is tomorrow. By the time this comes out, 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. So do you have any vegetarian recommendations for grilling for a 4th of July, post 4th of July party, barbecues? Barbecues are going to start ramping up here.
Well,
because it's the summertime and people barbecue not just on the 4th of July.
Just watch out for spiders.
yeah, I was about to say my
So
backup's a spider.
We'll get Kathleen. We'll have you say your what you like to grill, being a vegetarian, and then Julia will have you do the counterpoint since you're throwing a big shindig. What you're going to be grilling?
Oh, I thought you said that. I thought you meant like I have to counterpoint what she says.
I'm like,
Yes,
no,
you
you
do.
can't eat that.
No, you're wrong.
Like she's gonna say bell pepper and be like, "This is why you shouldn't grill bell pepper."
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a good idea. No, we go to a party every year on the 4th at my mom's best friend's house, and she cooks food. She's Italian, so she cooks like all these Italian dishes all day. She's been cooking it the past few days. She posts pictures. And they're always very friendly because I bring my own veggie burgers and they're very nice and they grill it for me. So I would suggest that. It's the easiest thing to do, just to bring your own burger because they're more than likely already grilling a burger. So you can just say, can you put it on there? And then you'll get made fun of a lot by people and then you just kind of stare at them, which is what I do. And then it makes them uncomfortable and they stop making fun of you. And then everything else is fine. I mean, I'm not a vegan, so I can eat the mac and cheese, potato salad.
Right.
That stuff's fine.
So when Kimber and I first started dating, she still was vegetarian, and we went to my grandparents have a cottage in Michigan on the Lake Michigan, and my grandpa would grill burgers, but since Kimber was vegetarian, he grilled up eggplant for her. Have you ever had that grilled eggplant?
I have, except the last time that I ate eggplant was when we were in New Orleans for the bachelorette party, and it was before we got the hurricane that was 4 feet tall.
So you threw up?
So I won't eat eggplant for a while.
Because you threw up.
I'm not saying that.
But
So that's a yes.
I actually found out that I'm mildly allergic to eggplant.
Me too.
Like my tongue starts itching. It's true.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, Kathleen, you mentioned one time you were allergic
Yeah.
to apples, and yet you keep eating them because you are just defying the face of God.
There's certain types I can eat, like gala. It's oral allergy syndrome. Like I bought cherries this week, and I've been eating them as a snack, and they give me hives, and I'm like, this was a bad decision.
Sure.
But I love cherries. Why? I don't know. My body's like, you're going to be a vegetarian? You're going to be allergic to vegetables. Like, all right, cool.
I didn't know cherries were a vegetable.
Okay, whatever. Vegetables, fruit,
All of the above.
raw foods.
So, Julia, counterpoint. What are you going to be serving at your 4th of July shindig?
I feel uncomfortable calling this a counterpoint.
Okay, so other point.
All right.
Just what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, we're actually kind of doing a bit of a potluck, so just kind of like
Oh, okay.
bring something you want to
That's
grill.
smart.
But I think some of the things people mentioned, like that some people are bringing some chicken, some steak, staples. I'm also going to try this new method of grilling corn that I've heard of.
Oh, yeah. Grilled corn's so good.
Yeah, I've heard that it's better to keep it in the husk and then soak it in water for a few minutes before you put it on the grill, which I've never heard of, but apparently it's supposed to make it like super tasty. So I'm going to try that out, and some other vegetables and like bell pepper.
Ooh. Let me counterpoint your bell pepper. No, just kidding. That sounds good.
Cool. Well, awesome.
What about you?
Kimber has to work, so I don't know what I'm going to be. She's told me that I have to make something, but I'm in an apartment, so we don't really have access to a grill. So I don't know. What should I make?
We'll have to find out next
I have
time.
some Beyond Burgers in our freezer.
Do that.
So
Well,
maybe
can't you
I'll do
like go to a park? Because there's all these parks that have like little grills out there. Maybe you can.
Yeah, but then you have to like go to the place and bring all the stuff and then set it up. So
Can't you do
Oh
something in
no,
a skillet?
outdoors.
yeah, no, it's a big pain. I hate the outdoors. Not true.
I mean, that is where the spiders are.
Didn't
That
you
is where
just
the
spend
spiders
like
are.
a week hiking though outdoors?
Yeah, I did. So that's not true at all.
Yeah. Well, park outdoors is different than hiking outdoors.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Lunch Break.
Awesome.
We covered a lot of ground on this episode.
A lot of rambling.
Yeah, a lot of rambling. Though it's been a while since we've had an episode, so it's a good recap from what we've been doing this summer while
Yeah.
we haven't been putting out episodes. So,
Yes.
Julia, thank you for joining us in this rambling episode today.
Yeah, always glad to be on here.
Yeah, and we're excited for Myth Roast, which you can find at northfulton.com/podcasts.
Yeah, it's where you can hear more of my lovely voice.
Yes. Or on past episodes of Lunch Break
Yeah.
that have featured Julia. So either way, but check out Myth Roast.
Yep.
Thank you all for listening. Be sure to subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. Thanks everybody for listening, and I guess stay hungry. I don't know.
Happy belated 4th.
Happy belated 4th. We need to come up with some sign off. This today we're gonna do stay hungry.
Stay hungry. Don't eat those spiders.
Get a lunch break. Break me into a lunch break. That's it. Okay.
That episode was tasty.